So last time Ohio State played a good team, they beat TCU in Arlington, Texas, and we walked away from that game thinking TCU is a top 10 team. And then TCU lost to Texas. And everybody said, what does that mean for Ohio State? Walking out of Beaver Stadium on Saturday night after Ohio State's 27-26 win over Penn State, how good is Penn State, do you think, Bill Landis? And that will lead us to the next question, which is the headline of this video. But how good's Penn State?
Really good. Like I still think in the end TCU might end up being a top 15 team. I think they might have just laid an egg against Texas. I feel the same way about Penn State. I think Penn State's better, which I assumed to be the case, and I think was proven tonight. But Penn State, I think, is definitely a top 15 team, possibly a top 10, flirting with a top 5 by the end of the season. They still have some marquee games like they play Michigan State, and Wisconsin. I like Penn State in all 3 of those games, and I think this is a really good team.
Penn State could go 11-1. That's on the table for them. I don't think Penn State's out of the national title picture. This is the reality, and I like to try to remind people of this. There was a time when Ohio State ran through the Big Ten, and I spent a decade writing about how the Big Ten stinks. And it was like, well, Penn State won the Big Ten, but so what? Who else would win it? Now, the Big Ten is good. And when your conference gets good, then you get this. So for Ohio State fans, I think there's still an adjustment process. This is what happens when your conference is good. Penn State is somewhere between like the 5th and 8th best team in the country, I think. I think Ohio State's a top 4 team, and that's the main part of this, Bill Landis. As we Clemson barely escaped at Syracuse. Alabama's beaten everybody by a million. They're clearly number 1. But just because Ohio State had to pull this out, does this still to you look like Ohio State is a top 4 team on the path for a playoff? Or did we see holes against Penn State?
I think both can be true. I still think – I thought the defense showed tonight that they're going to give up some stuff, but there's a lot of talent there, and I think when their back's against the wall and they have to make a play, I trust mostly that they'll do it. I thought they did a really good job tonight against a really, really good Penn State offense. So I'm not super concerned about that. And otherwise, I do think Ohio State is a top 4 team. I think they showed that in the way the defense performed at the end and the way that the offense found answers to being shut down in the first half. Because that's the one thing I think that's held Ohio State back is like we knew what Ohio State did on offense. But when teams took that away, then what are you going to do? And tonight, Penn State took away Ohio State's deep passing game, its passing game in general. And then Ohio State just bubble screened and tunnel screened and ran the ball and won the game. And it was sweaty, and they won by a point, and they almost lost, and maybe probably should have lost. But they pulled it out. So I think that all those things I think are a mark of a team that can win a national championship and is certainly in the top 4.
I agree. See you later at cleveland.com.